Good evening po.
Good
Good
evening
evening
po.
po.
Good evening po, sir.
The question of God is a question of origin and of human existence. What is ethics and what is morality? What is the difference between The question of God is a question of origin and of human existence. What is ethics and what is morality? What is the difference between the
Okay, can I request any representative of the group for the paper Negative Effects of Forced Religion to an Individual's Mental Activity to be our opening prayer leader? Anybody from the group headed by Angelique Nicole Tubang to lead
Ako
the
na po, sir.
Okay, Carl. Okay, please. Thank you.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus, teacher of all students, I entrust my learning to you. Open my mind, understanding, and memory to interpret and remember them correctly. Enlighten me to discover the talents you have given me, that I may help spread your gospel and others may benefit from them. Assist me so that in building my knowledge, I may also build up my spiritual life. Amen.
Amen. Of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Class, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. For today, we have one, two, three, four term papers. Each of the term paper video presentation will be given 15 minutes. Then after 15 minutes, I have some questions to raise. Then you are given also 2 minutes, okay, 1 minute actually, 1 minute to answer each of the questions that I will be raising. Okay? So the flow of our mini conference today is we start with the group of Angelic Tubang with their term paper Negative Effects of Forced Religion to an Individual's Mental Stability, to be followed by the term paper entitled Belief, Influence of Different Religions and Beliefs in Terms of Conducting Health Practices, then to be followed by the term paper The Impact of Cyberbullying Amongst the Filipino Youth, then the last but not the least is the term paper entitled The Effects of Discrimination to Transgender in the Philippines. Class, welcome to this third and last day of our mini conference, and let us have our first presenters, the group of Angelic Nicole Tubang, to present their paper entitled The Negative Effects of Forced Religion to an Individual's Mental Stability. Group of presenters, the virtual floor is yours.
Sir, is it
Yes,
okay
please.
po na kayo po yung mag-share screen po?
Okay, sige. What is the file name of your video?
Peacemakers po.
Peacemakers. Okay. Wait. Do you see my screen now?
Yes po.
Okay, let us start.
Religion is a belief system passed from generation to generation and is now present in our time. Religion itself unites others while it also separates other people because of various perspectives and beliefs. The differences can cause a commotion or a confusion within the society, especially with how highly religious people handle their way of looking into society and its issues. Religion is not a common ground for all of us, but mental health is for sure our common denominator because we have aspects in our lives that can affect our mental growth and mental stability. With that, we, the Peacemakers from Dent 1G, present to you our term paper entitled The Negative Effects of Forced Religion to an Individual's Mental Stability.
Many people are unaware, but religion's connectedness to mental health is an issue that is often overlooked. Most of the time, people were not given the freedom to choose their own beliefs, which causes conflict with their mental stability. That's why religion can lead to mental health problems instead of becoming a source of treatment to a person's mental stability. This is not only the factor that influences religious people look on mental health. It can also be the influences of family, especially the parents, because they are the mentors of their children. This study of the Yale University proves that people who believe in a vengeful God are more likely to suffer from mental issues and disorders like social anxiety, paranoia, etc. It is believed that 1/3 of the psychosis involve religious delusions. This is why people should raise awareness. People might devote, pray, and all, but what is the sense if the actions are fruitful while the mind is starving?
And for our thesis statement, continuous change happening globally in all aspects, particularly in beliefs, faith, and religion, an individual is still limited to obey societal expectation and make decisions subject to judgment aligned and dictated with and by society's norms affecting one's mental stability.
This term paper aims to raise awareness and give greater understanding of mental health problems caused by forced religion. Beliefs and teachings advocated by religion can become integrated into the way how our brain works. Forced religion can provide unwanted detrimental effects to an individual's mental stability, and many were affected by this issue.
In order to raise awareness that a person's mental stability should come first, qualitative evidence are gathered to explore the relationship between mental stability and forced religion to an individual. This paper assesses the negative effects of forced religion and its impact towards a person's mental health.
The study of negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability aims to answer the following questions. 1. Is there a significant relationship between forced religion and an individual's mental stability? 2. How does forced religion affect the mental stability of an individual? 3. What are the possible solutions to prevent the negative effects of forced religion on an individual's mental stability? As statement of the problem, we hypothesize that forced religion has a negative effect on an individual's mental stability. Thus, the choice of religion should be partnered with the freedom of choice and the open-mindedness of leaders from religious belief systems to refrain from forced religion from affecting an individual's mental stability. In this study, researchers will use the evaluative approach and the secondary data analysis. Evaluative approach method will be a tool for impact evaluation of forced religion to an individual's mental stability. Meanwhile, the secondary data analysis from past research related to this issue will support this evaluation. Researchers will also use a descriptive method to focus on what question of the study.
Research done by the researchers. The pieces of literature cited tackle the different concepts, understanding, ideas, generalization, and conclusions, and further developments related to the topic being conducted. Those that were also included helped the researchers in familiarizing information that is relevant and similar to the present issue.
According to Koenig 2007, some patients may develop feelings of excessive guilt and condemnation because of religion. The belief on a higher power contradicts with any modality of psychological matter. Moreover, according to X-Line 2002, patients who do not feel that they meet God's standards may experience distress associated with striving to be victorious. This shows that these beliefs counters with the reality of life, which includes the scope of mental stability.
Additionally, more professionals have supported the claim that mental problems and forced religion are related. Delusion in some psychiatric patients appear to be fueled by religious ideas. This is not only to say that the delusions are caused by religion. However, religion serves as the basis of their content. It is significant to differentiate spiritual experiences with psychiatric delusion with religious content. Conflicts arise when these beliefs from religious contexts are mixed up with psychological and mental health problems. Moreover, a person's mental stability is affected by his or her beliefs, which dictates how much influence religion has on a person's state of mentality.
So, in addition to this, X-Line discussed religion could cause an increase in anxiety for certain individuals. Most of the time, being a part of any belief system starts at each household. Some were not given the freedom to choose their own beliefs, and it causes conflict with their mental stability. This means that individuals are forced to commit to a religion for the welfare of their households. It develops excessive anxiety due to the lack of freedom of beliefs that creates conflict to a person's mental stability.
According to Koenig, turning to religion as a way to have a partial relief of distress is effective, but it does not usually completely eliminate it. It serves as a response to disturbing or traumatic events experienced in life. In addition to this, Levin explains that religious involvement exhibits a salutary and primary preventive function concerning psychological distress and outcomes related to mental health and well-being. It is concluded that there is evidence that one's religion's life has something significant to say about one's mental health.
proven to have a positive impact on people. Although some are forced to be in one, not all are given religious freedom. Thus, they experience religious discrimination. According to Clocker 2011, the religious discrimination is associated with a range of social and economic impacts. Discrimination can hinder the person reaching its true potential. It increases the risk of anxiety, depression, psychiatric disorder, psychiatric distress, subclinical paranoia, and lower self-reported life satisfaction. Thus, if we accept the religion and belief as health-promoting, then the denial of religious freedom produces negative health outcomes.
According to Ellison C.G. and Henderson A.K., relationships between religious involvement and mental health results have been examined over the past 2 decades. Sigmund Freud to Albert Ellis have maintained that religious belief in many individuals is either an expression or a source of emotional distress. In contrast, recent studies report that religiousness appears to be inversely associated with depression, anxiety, or psychological distress.
According to Weber and Parkman 2014, religion and spirituality can either promote mental health or damage it. Studies suggest that religion and spirituality can foster mental health through positive religious coping. However, it also shows that through negative religious coping, confusion and miscommunication, and negative attitude, religion and spirituality can be harmful to mental health.
Society can inevitably shape a human's mindset. For society, and as greater and popular statistical decision or worldview can affect how a person can perceive a specific global aspect such as beliefs, faith, and religion. Anything related to the concept of sacredness may guide us on the perception of moral, values, and worldly issues. Just like how religion can govern humans, such as church leaders, pastors, bishops, and any that administrates the churchgoers and anyone in the belief system that can influence the members' minds. We are living in a structure of social expectations. According to Hasegawa et al. 2007, social expectation is the primary mood on what society should do. It is an internalized social norm for individuals and organizations. Although social expectations and religion can have a positive impact in terms of life's organization and sense of comfort, it can also have a negative impact on an individual's mental health belonging in a belief system. Problems should be treated psychologically and therapeutically.
Religion greatly influences the mental health of an individual. With the given benefits on the mental health of a person, there are circumstances that some are being forced to convert or commit to certain religions. According to Xline 2002, that religion may cause or increase anxieties for certain individuals. For example, patients worry about the welfare of their families who do not share the same belief. Forced conversion in different religions starts within the households and causes pressure in an individual.
There's no doubt that religion is important in an individual's life and in society, but there are also beliefs that religion can be dangerous to society and to an individual's mental stability when being forced. Our paper reveals the negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability. We gathered evidence to explore the relationship between mental stability and forced religion. There's no doubt that many people were affected by this issue. Choosing religion should be partnered with freedom of choice and open-mindedness. Not given the freedom to choose their own beliefs can cause a conflict with their mental stability. Forced religion that brought upon the influences of either their family or other people provide unwanted effects to an individual's mental stability. This paper will serve as an awareness that a person's mental stability should come first before everything. And this paper also reveals an idea to prevent the negative effects through raising an awareness for the family since it holds a great influence on every individual.
Based on the negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability, the possible solution to the problem is through raising awareness for the family members, since family holds a significant influence. Mental health problems pertain to people influencing other people. Through this awareness, it will alleviate the risk of people on experiencing mental health problems. Also, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion must be practiced. No one shall be subjected to coercion, which would impair a person's freedom to have or adopt a religion or belief of choice.
In this paper, we conclude that religion has a great significant relationship to an individual's mental stability, as a person's social, mental, and well-being also depends on it. It provides degrading effects to an individual's mental health through the social expectations imposed by the people around. It serves as a guide on how to act and make decisions, and as a result, others treat themselves with toxic positivity via spiritual practices. This makes them develop mental disorders. If an individual has no right of religious freedom, he or she is pressured to act accordingly on what is forced to believe in. People then tend to develop anxiety, depression, paranoia, and other mental disorders. As a solution, there must be awareness to family members that subjecting a person to an unwanted religion can impair their mental health. Through this, mental health problems can be prevented. We, the researchers, have proposed recommendations for the benefit of other researchers by finding if forced religion affects how an individual interacts or socializes with others. Secondly, looking deeper into other influencers of forced religion aside from family members, and evaluating how religion and organizations' practices and beliefs determine a person's decisions in life.
Okay, thank you so much for the nice video presentation of your paper about the negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability. Okay, there are two things that I want to raise. One is about technicality, and second one is about content. Technicality first. You mentioned about three questions in your statement of the problem, right? Three questions.
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes, po, sir.
Of these three questions, only one question has been answered in your, or has been, shall we say, given a hypothesis. Am I right? I think it is question number 2 that has been given, shall we say, an educated guess, which is your hypothesis. I hope you have a copy of your, each of you has a copy of your term paper. Okay, do you have it? Meron ba?
Lives that can
Wait, hanapin ko muna sandali ah. Dito sa introduction ninyo. Okay, hanapin ko lang. Okay. Okay, kita nyo yung screen ko?
Yes, po.
Okay.
Yes, po.
Your statement of the problem shows 3 questions One, is there a significant relationship between forced religion and an individual's mental stability? Second, how does forced religion affect the mental stability of an individual? And third is, what are the possible solutions to prevent the negative effects of forced religion on an individual's mental stability? And from these three questions, you formulate your hypothesis, and you say here that it is hypothesized that forced religion has a negative effect on an individual's mental stability. If you're going to go back here, it is only one question that has been, shall we say, answered initially by your hypothesis, and I think this is question number one. Do you agree with me? Tama ba ang observation ko? That out of the three questions, only one has been initially answered using your hypothesis in your paper.
Yes po, sir.
Okay, good. Um, in a certain term paper or any paper to that effect, the statement of the problem should give us one main question. Okay? And if there is something that you need to make a follow-up to the main question, you have to make the succeeding questions your sub-questions. What happens in your term paper is that all of the three questions become your main questions. I suggest that you focus on the first question, which is initially answered by your hypothesis, which connects directly now to your title, Negative Effects of Forced Religion to an individual's, shall we say, mental stability. Okay? If there is now a connection between your hypothesis and your statement of the problem, and to make it particular, the first question as the main question, okay, the other two must be made sub questions. Okay, I recommend make it your make those two questions your sub questions, because your first question, is there a relation between the negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability? I suggest na you change a bit your title and make it the relationship between negative effects of forced religion and an individual's mental stability. Because from that title, you make your main question, and from the main question, you formulate your hypothesis. Okay? So that everything will be in line. Okay? That is for the technicality. Okay. For the content, first is, how do you define forced religion?
Um, Religion is regarded as consisting of the way on we deal with our concerns about life and death. Unites us po kasi kaso it separates us also due to various beliefs po.
That is
We
what you
also,
call religion. Pero what
yes,
is for you forced religion?
We use the term forced religion po as a way po na to explain that um, individuals po that remain in a belief system, sometimes po it is labag po sa loob po nila na andun po sila sa relihiyon po na yun na hindi po sila nakapili ng religion po na gusto po nilang sundin and gusto po nilang mag-belong po sila as an individual po.
Okay? So, they are forced into that kind of religion. And what do you think are the factors why somebody are into such um, situation of being fed with a religion that he or she does not want to?
We included po in our content of our term paper po na one of the factors can be the influence po ng family po kasi po ay we are born in this world po and then our parents are given us kung ano po yung relihiyon na meron po sila and sometimes po in our household kung ano po yung relihiyon na magulang po natin is ayun na po yung relihiyon na kakalakihan po natin at yung magde-develop po sa atin as pagtanda po natin. Kaya po, nasabi po namin na isa po yun sa mga factors po ng forced religion
Forced
po.
religion, okay. Um, is there a certain situation wherein, shall we say, the younger generations, the son or daughter, express to their parent not to follow the religion of the parents anymore, but not permitted to?
Yung question po is actually our inspiration po kung ba't po namin po ginawa po yung paper po na ito na other belonging kami po and yung mga younger generations sometimes when they open up their problems to their parents po we included in our content din po na ayun nga po kapag nag-open up po yung mga bata or generation po sa parents po nila sometimes ang naibibigay po sa kanila is yung mga salitang magdasal ka na lang dapat meron kang relihiyon para hindi mo para maiwasan mo yung mental health problem na nararamdaman mo po. Ganun po yung basis po namin po.
Okay. So that is interpreted now as a form of forcing the son or daughter into a religion that parents have. Na pag nag-open up ka about religion, sasabihan ka na lang na magdasal ka na lang or dapat may religion ka. Is it a way now to, is it interpreted now as a form of forcing the daughter or son into the religion of the parents?
Yun po yung isa po sa mga aspects po na na nakita po namin po, sir.
Okay, one of the many. Okay, one of the many. Is there a case in which someone asked his or her parent to, shall we say, to change and choose his or her own religion other than the religion of the parents, but explicitly not granted or granted by the parent?
So, of course po, meron pong ganun po, sir. And kasi po, we included also in our paper po na yung society's expectations po and that we are influenced by society as we grow po. And sometimes po, yung religion na nai-instill po sa atin in our households are not the religion that we want to belong to or hindi po yung interpretation or perspective po natin sa isang relihiyon and that yung person po na yun, it can be influenced by others po, in yung friends po nila. Kaya po, I think we think po na, yes po sir, na ayun po yung, may nangyayari pong ganong situations po.
Okay. May nangyaring gano'n na humingi yung bata ng pagkakataon na pumili ng kanyang religion pero inayawan ng parents. Pero naka-encounter din ba kayo ng situation na humingi ng permission yung bata na pumili ng sarili nilang religion or niyang religion pero binigyan naman ito ng permission ng parents?
We think po, yes po, may nangyayari pong ganun po. Although our term paper is only delimited po for those who are forced to join a certain belief system that they don't want to po.
Okay, good. That is why we need to review the kind of contending views that you have. Kasi I was watching kanina at nagtitake down notes ako, and I noticed that in your contending views, please remember that when you talk about contending views, it must be about differing or opposing views. One view must be in favor of, shall we say, forced religion having, shall we say, effect on individuals' mental health or mental stability, and the other view must be in opposition to the view that forced religion is connected with the individual's mental stability. If you are going to go over your RRL, okay, it cannot be called now actually as contending views because none of your RRL actually having an opposition, okay, to the claim that religion, okay, has, shall we say, or forced religion has a positive effect to an individual's mental health. Walang ganun nangyari, puro negative lahat. Kung titingnan nyo yung RRL, lahat ng mga nakasulat doon at lahat ng authors are actually saying something that forced religion has negative effects, okay, to an individual's mental stability. Okay? Wala akong nakita na merong nag-oppose dito at nagsabi na forced religion has positive impact or effects to an individual's mental health. Why the sweeping RRL?
We included po, may RR po kami according to QUR'AN po 2020.
May I
That
see?
is on the term paper po. Wait lang.
According to Koenig?
Yes po, sir.
According to Koenig 2020? Do you have here in
Yes.
your video? Because I am browsing now your video.
Yes po.
Okay. Let me read it, ha? Hanapin ko siya. Okay, X-Line 2020. Koenig, okay. According to Koenig 2020, turning a religion as a way to have a partial relief of distress is effective, but it does not usually completely eliminate it. Okay? It shows that religion affects a person's mental health. It serves as a response to disturbing and traumatic events experienced in life. This makes a person turn over to praying, scriptures for guidance, and seeking support from the religious community members. Okay. What does it say? It somewhat touches about the positive effect of forced religion to the mental health of a certain individual, pero the more leaning is actually given by Koenig to say that generally forced religion has a negative effect to the individual's mental health. So it means that he's not actually siding, and it cannot be viewed as an opposition to the claim that forced religion has negative effects to, shall we say, individuals' mental health. Nandun pa rin siya, nandito pa rin yung leaning niya, andito pa rin sa negative effects. It cannot be considered as an opposition to the negative effects, na it is, shall we say, a direct opposition and saying that first religion has positive effect on the mental health of an individual. Kaya ang tingin ko nga parang naging sweeping siya, no? Parang landslide yung ginawa, wala kayong pangbugbog, no? Wala kayong pangbugbog, no? Ang ginawa nyo is landslide lang talaga. Why? Bakit wala ba kayo nakita na RRL or talagang gusto nyo lang iparating na talagang meron, which is actually meron naman talagang negative effects, but you have also to look at the other side. Baka meron din nagsulat na ang first religion may positive effects. Do you get my point?
Yes po.
Yun, no? Kasi halimbawa, no, ito ang ano natin, sa ibang tradition, bigyan ko kayo ng example, though it is not about religion, it is about fixed marriage, no? In the contemporary view of fixed marriage, it is something that is negative. Okay? But in the olden tradition of the Chinese people, they viewed fixed marriage as something that is positive. Okay? Kasi hindi mababawasan yung yaman ng pamilya at nasi-secure ang future ng generations. Kaya pinifix marriage nila. Kasi ayaw nila na mangyari na kalaunan is yung yaman ng pamilya ay mapunta lang sa kahit kanino lang. Okay? Kaya sinecure nila yan, and they viewed it, culturally, they viewed it as something that is positive. Though in our culture, from the contemporary point of view, no, hindi. Kasi we should have freedom to choose the one that we should have to love. Okay? The same thing about a forced religion. The same thing about influencing the sons and daughters by the parents of their own religion. No? Baka naman sa ibang tradition, okay, is positive ang forced religion. Okay? At yun ang gusto kong sanang makita sa paper ninyo, no? Hindi yung landslide. Hindi yung landslide.
Sir,
Go ahead.
may when we started this term paper po, we also acknowledge that there are positive effects of religion but not forced religion po. I mean, we acknowledge that there are positive effects in forced religion, but given the time and resources po, we delimited our topic to negative effects of forced religion to make our paper effective po, na ayun po yung pinapakita po namin na meron pong
Hindi
negative
naging effective yan. Sorry to say, hindi naging effective yan. Kasi kung meron kayong more than 5 na nasa RRL ninyo na all negative, sana hinati nyo na lang para medyo halimbawa, 2 na lang yung negative effects, 2 din ang negative effects, para makita mo na may balance view sila. Ang ginawa nyo is tingnan nyo kung yung kina-Kinig, kina-X-Line, ang dami niyan. Kung tutusin, more than 5 ata yan, nasa mga 8 yata or nasa 10. Okay? Kung inano nyo lang sana, kung hinati nyo yung grupo, ikaw, bigyan mo ako ng positive effect, bahala ka na maghanap. Okay? Ikaw, bigyan mo ako ng negative effect, okay, bahala ka maghanap, then I have to collate. Ang ginawa yata nyo, ikaw, maghanap tayo lahat ng negative effect. Okay?
Sir,
Yes, go ahead, Kyla.
sir, religion po kasi is, madami nga pong positive effects sa tao. However po, pag sinabing force, ang sabi po sa force, obtain or imposed by coercion or physical power. Di ba po pag force, puwersa? Kaya po, meron po bang positive effect na puwersa kayo? Yun yung scope and limitation lang po ng paper namin. Kaya po ganun po. Yun po yung explanation kung bakit po ganun yung RRL namin.
Kaya nga, kanina, pinadefine ko sa inyo kung ano yung forced religion. Kaya, napaka-importante kanina yung terminology na forced religion na pinadefine ko sa inyo kasi pwedeng mangyari na hindi naman talaga forced religion pero sinama nyo as forced religion. Halimbawa, nagsabi yung bata na pwede ba akong mamili ng religion? Ang sagot ng nanay ay magdasal ka muna. Okay? Baka pwedeng magdasal ka muna. Pag sinabing magdasal ka muna, it is not something to be taken as a non-permission to choose other religion. Okay? Baka misunderstanding lang na pag sinabing magdasal ka muna is it was interpreted na hindi ako pinapayagan. Baka naman ang ano ni nanay is magdasal ka muna, after the prayer mo, balik tayo, mag-usap tayo, baka mamaya is naliwanagan ka na at talagang gusto mo nang mamili ng religion, then go ahead. Baka ganon. Do you get my point?
Yes po.
Oo. Kaya yun ang inano ko, no? At pangalawang punto is, baka naman kahit forced religion siya, pero along the way, meron talagang positive, no? Pero talagang positive effect ito, no? Na para bang the saying that goes, blessing in disguise would take into its course. Yung parang ganon, para bang fixed marriages, ang fixed marriage is something that is negative, kaya pwede mong itanong, meron ba talagang positive kung fixed marriage yun, inawala yung freedom mo? Ay kaso lang, proven sa Chinese culture and tradition na para sa kanila, kaya in the olden times, fixed marriage is actually something that is good. Yung ganon. No? Kasi, kung titingnan natin, itong ano natin in the olden times, in Judaism, okay, especially when they were always invaded by the enemy, many people wanted to belong to Judaism so that they can have Yahweh as their God. Okay? Because of that mentality, they actually made a point that if they are being given the religion Judaism, they considered that as a blessing. Kaya pag sinabi na, dito binyagan kita as a Jew, binyagan kita into the religion Judaism. Somebody who is longing to become, okay, a member of the people of God, okay, na wala pa dapat yung time niya na mabinyagan siya, consider that one as a blessing. And in that case, hindi naman niya pinili yun. Something that is imposed on him, pero nakita niya as a blessing. Okay? Nakita niya as a blessing. Okay. Another one is an imposition that is done by Saint Augustine of Hippo. Okay? Saint Augustine of Hippo, Africa, created this mass, shall we say, baptism. Okay? At tinakot niya yung taga Hippo, Africa, na pag hindi magpabinyag, okay, into Catholicism, into Christianity, wala pa naman dati yung mga other Christians pa, yung tawag noon sa Catholicismo is Christianity per se. Okay, tinakot niya yung mga taga Hippo, Africa, na pag hindi nagpabinyag yung mga bata, pag namatay yung mga bata, mapupunta sa limbo. Okay? Parang purgatorio, pero intended only for children daw, quote unquote, kasi it was corrected already by Pope Benedict XVI, mapupunta daw sa limbo, a certain place intended only exclusively for children who died without being baptized. Okay? Now, for people who, shall we say, do not want Christianity, para they call it forcing on them the religion Christianity. But later on, for those who, shall we say, were converted into Christianity, considered yung pananakot ni Saint Augustine of Hippo to be a blessing. Okay? To be a blessing because kung hindi daw sila tinakot, okay, at hindi sila nabinyagan nung bata pa sila, baka hindi sila mabilong into the so-called people of God. Okay? Kaya yun ang gusto kong makita sana sa paper ninyo na yung dalawa. Baka naman yung term na forced religion still has positive effects na makikita, okay? And not just to say na the word forced is all negative. Absolutely. There might be still positive, okay, on the term forced.
Sir,
Go ahead.
nag-search po kami, wala pong positive effect yung forced religion po. Ang lumalabas lang kadalasan po, religion lang, hindi po forced religion.
Okay.
May positive effect.
Kaya nga, very crucial doon yung pag-define ninyo ng forced religion. No? Isa yon. Pangalawa is, alin ang mga sinesearch nyo na journals? Kasi depende niya sa search ninyo. Napunta na ba kayo sa journal for philosophy, theology, and religion? Kasi kung doon lang kayo sa mismong search engine ng Google Chrome, hindi talaga kayo makapunta doon. Dapat ang pinupuntahan nyo muna is yung mismong journal. Tingnan ko nga. Ito. Tingnan ko muna. Ito journal ito ng philosophy muna. Kasi nagdi-deal din ng theology ang philosophy. Okay, sandali lang ha. Sandali lang. Para lang i-satisfy natin yung kung wait dali. Baka mali yung ko. Positive impacts of forced religion. Okay. Okay. Meron dito, oh. Bigay ko sa inyo, ah. Yan. Ito. Tingnan nyo yan. Kita nyo? Pag binuksan mo yan, dediretso kayo sa negative and positive notions of religious liberty. Okay? So, yun ang tingnan nyo. Dali. Sana ba yun? Okay. Ito yung ano niya, no? Wait. Okay. Okay. The worship of freedom, negative and positive notions of liberty in philosophy of religion and political philosophy, no? Pwede niyong tingnan, baka may notion ito ng forced religion. Yun ang tingnan nyo dito. Okay? Tapos, yung isa naman is first choice personality measures, hindi yun. Okay? Mas akma yung isa. Meron ding isa dito, religion and mental health, aspects of the relation between religious measures and positive and negative mental health. Pwede nyong tingnan din ito. Okay? Pwede nyong tingnan din yan. Ibigay ko sa inyo yung pinaka paper niya, pinaka journal, para tingnan nyo. Ang journal niya is philpapers.org. Okay? Ilagay nyo sa search engine lang philpapers.org. Okay? Journal yan, tackling about the philosophy and theology minsan ng religion. Okay? So meron talaga, no? So kailangan lang talaga natin pagsikapan na hanapan talaga ng pambato, no? Kasi nilagay nyo sila, dapat hanapin nyo ng pambangga. Okay? Kasi kung hindi mo mahanapan ng pambangga, initial na reaction nyo dapat is, huwag nyo ituloy. Kasi wala sang pambangga. Baka mamaya is hindi talaga sa pwede sa study. Okay? Kasi baka mamaya, wala pa talagang nagsusulat sa mga yan. Okay? So, yun ang napaka-importante, yung related literature natin. Okay. In your conclusion, okay, body mo ng konti. Sa body ninyo, meron pa kayong mention dito about vindictive God, no? Vindictive God as a source of mental shall we say disorder and distress. Okay. I think you're talking about the God of the Jews, Judaism, Yahweh, no? Because sometimes Yahweh is considered as a vindictive God. Okay. Not so much about this one because it is not so much about in relation to forced religion, parang periphery lang ito. Pero yung instance na wala kayong mahanap about forced religion na positive, parang imposible para sa akin, no? Parang napaka-imposible na hindi kayo or walang sinulat tungkol doon. Baka meron. Kasi ang fixed marriage nga na not so popular rather than religion, nagkaroon ito ng ang daming RRL na sinulat na positive impact of fixed marriages. Yung mga ganon, no? Kaya, I suggest, okay, I suggest that you revise your paper. Gusto kong makita sa RIL nyo, i-balance nyo yung negative at saka positive, um, shall we say, perspectives. I-balance nyo. Kasi yun lang ang pwede yung himayin para magkaroon kayo ng matinong conclusion. Kasi kung dito napaka-sweeping yung dating, medyo nagiging bias lang siya. Nagiging bias lang. I want you to have the holistic approach of looking at first religion. I'm not saying that it should lead to positive, no? Positive impact. My only, shall we say, concern is that there should be a balance of perspectives. Okay? At nangyari is medyo naparami, yeah? Naparami yung tawag nito, yung negative effects of first religion to the point na wala talagang nakitang pambangga, no? Hindi talaga naparami, talagang lahat siya. Kahit si Koenig is hindi naman talaga panig si Koenig for the positive effects of first religion. Kaya hindi siya matatawag as an opposition or contending view to the claim that there is a negative effect to first religion. Any comment from the group presenting this paper? Yes, Carl.
None naman po, sir.
Basta makita ko lang yung balance, yun lang naman importante sa akin. Yun lang importante. Kahit man sa dulo is talagang mamumutawi yung shall we say negative effects, walang problema nun. Basta dumaan ito sa salaan, no? Kasi yung contending views, yun ang pagsasala. Kasi i-analyze nyo yan. May nagsabi na positive yung first religion, may nagsasabi na negative yung first religion. Ano ba talaga? That is where you come in to analyze the data. Okay? Kasi doon sa negative lang ang pinipresent nyo, there's no need to analyze them. Okay? Ipaparot mo na lang papunta sa conclusion, and we are not parrots. Okay? We are not into instinct. We are rational people. So we need the balance of perspectives. Okay? So I am giving you up to Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. of Wednesday, to submit a revision of your third paper as well as a revision of your video. Okay? Paki-pull out yung paper ninyo from the Google Drive as well as your video para hindi ako magkamali ng pag-grade, kasi kung anong makita ko doon, yun ang ipo-pull out ko para i-grade ko, no? So, pag nangyari na itong old ang nandyan, talagang delikado, no? So, I want you to pull it out, then upload it on Wednesday up to 11:59 p.m. That is the deadline. Okay? Sige. So, wag kayong sumama ng loob na pina-revise ang paper. That means na yung paper talaga ninyo may potential. The only thing is that there should be something that should be corrected. Yun lang, no? Because I do not want you to fail in your final exam, because this is your final exam. Because I have to insist this kind of presentation, delikado yung final exam. I want you to receive good grades for your final exam. That is why I want you to revise your paper. Anything that you want to ask or any concern that you want to raise about your term paper? Okay, hearing none, let us move now to the second group of presenters. Their paper is entitled Belief, influence of different religions and beliefs in terms of conducting health practices. Group of presenters, welcome, and the virtual floor is yours.
Sir, pwede po kayo po mag-play ng video namin.
Sige, anong ano niya? Anong title?
Hallelujah po.
Hallelujah. Sige, wait. Okay. Okay, do you see now my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's
Yes
start
po.
now.
This study will strengthen the knowledge of the medical practitioners and the people engaging in medical related matters in understanding how spiritualism or religion and superstitions are felt, applied, and experienced by most individuals. The study aims to know how religion and superstitious beliefs affect healthcare practices on patients and medical practitioners and how faith helps the patients deal with mental and even physical challenges.
With the wide variety of religion and its practices across the globe, healthcare systems and health providers are challenged to deliver care that accommodates the religious needs of specific patients. One way for the system and its providers to honor the healthcare religious freedom is to develop policies and procedures that promote culturally competent care that constitutes sensitivity among the religious beliefs and practices in healthcare. This study seeks to explore how religious beliefs influence medical practices and how it also challenges the decisions of medical professionals.
In the null hypothesis, it states that there is no significant difference in the influence of different religions and beliefs in conducting health practices. And for the alternative hypothesis, it states that there is a significant difference in the influence of different religions and beliefs in conducting health practices.
For the results and discussion, a superstition is a belief or practice typically resulting from ignorance, a misunderstanding of science or casualty, a belief in fate or magic, perceived supernatural influence, or fear of what which is unknown. Is commonly applied to beliefs and practices surrounding luck, prophecy, and certain spiritual beings, particularly the belief that future events can be foretold by specific unrelated prior events. In the Philippines, superstitious belief has been a part of the culture of the Filipinos. One of these is related to healthcare according to Makati Medical Center 2019. Most early Filipinos believed in worshipping different gods, creatures, and spirits. However, due to the Philippines having a long history of colonization, religious beliefs and traditions have changed from animism to Christianity. Filipinos, especially older adults, tend to cope with illness by relying on advice from family and friends, and by faith in God. Also in superstitions, one of the examples is to get rid of hiccup by placing a short thread wet with saliva on the forehead. According to the survey by Smart Parenting, 5 out of 10 parents continue to cure their kids' hiccups by practicing the superstitions or pamahiin. Several factors can cause hiccups, including swallowing air and eating or drinking too much or too fast. According to Peter James B. Abad, 2014, an assistant professor of nursing and genetic counseling, University of the Philippines, Manila, the Filipino culture is a mixture of indigenous as well as imported and borrowed elements. Quackery has also been a part of superstitious belief not only in the Philippines but also in India. According to study, quack plays an important role in the health sectors of India. especially in the rural areas. But till now, there is no reliable estimate of the number of quack in India and the extent of their services. Most quack are found in the rural areas where they are first source of medical care for the rural poor. A present study reveals that the preference for quack is more or less income specific and age specific, and moreover, in spite of the low cost of treatment under quack, effectiveness cannot be assured in allopathy. It also shows that healthcare professionals should provide a space to understand and meet the religious and spiritual beliefs of their patients, thus providing such opportunities to tackle with the patients and their religious and moral views develops a more comfortable counseling and assessment that suits the patient's needs. Doctors, patients, and clinicians benefit in the process of religion as part of the assessment process used by involved individuals regarding health-related activities. Plays a huge role in maintaining a stable and healthier lifestyle. Professionals are lacking in terms of application of religion and spiritual when consulting a certain person, at least to presuming into all stereotypes and prejudices. It is also important to understand the spiritual belief of an individual in the success of healthcare outcomes. We live in a world where healthcare religious freedom should be taken into account when care is being provided. When providers take the time to understand the faith of a patient, as well as how religion may affect the ability to receive care and benefit.
Based on the results and discussion, it reveals that there is significant difference in the influence of various religions and beliefs in conducting healthcare practices. Therefore, the null hypothesis is rejected. The Philippines and some Asian countries are fond of religious and superstitious beliefs. Hence, it gravely influences their morals in viewing in healthcare practices. As superstitious and religious beliefs poses a challenge in performing healthcare, medical practitioners are ought to find alternative solutions and procedures that will somehow fit in the patient's beliefs and medical records. Based on the findings of the study, it is recommended to the future researchers in giving more specific religious beliefs as variables to be able to deeply elaborate on the importance of adjustment in medical procedures. In addition, the regulation of religious beliefs as a part of healthcare evaluation should also be taken into consideration, obliging the healthcare personnel to prioritize the patient's health at the same time regarding the matter. The researchers also exhort to contribute more time in procuring substantial sources, assessing and synthesizing the data gathered, since the researchers finished the study in a constrained period.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation about beliefs, the influence of religions and beliefs in conducting health practices. I think that was in day 1 or day 2 that there was a certain paper presented, um, like what you have presented now. So it is something like um, shall we say religious beliefs, and also about how to, shall we say, come up with, or the difficulty in shall we say treating illnesses. Okay, because people regard religion more than medicine. Okay, I think you have made a point that there really exists some sort of difficulty in treating people who are into their religion and beliefs. And if this is the case, then what do you think is the solution? I have read and witnessed your recommendation to this one, but this particular thing about what do you think is the solution when a certain patient is having religious belief and so influenced by his or her religion and chooses not to be treated with medical procedure when in fact he or she needs it. Anong
Hello
solution
po,
doon?
sir.
Go ahead. Josh?
Based po kasi sa sa nag-gather na data ng mga researchers, we conclude po na kapag nagkakaroon po ng involvement ng religious belief towards sa certain treatment na ibinigay ng healthcare practitioner o ng healthcare professional, is nagkakaroon po ng smooth sailing process. So, sinasabi po dito na mas kinakailangan na i-consider o irregularize yung involvement ng religious belief as part ng assessment na isinasagawa ng mga healthcare practitioners natin para magkaroon nga po ng smooth sailing process na na kung saan nag-i-engage yung isang pasyente po.
Are you talking about the Philippines or are you talking about any other country?
Any other country po.
Any other country?
Yes,
but not the Philippines?
Generally po yung information po na
general. Pero
okay.
May nangyari na ba sa Pilipinas na talagang ganun ang ginawa? Na pag merong ganito na ayaw pagamot kasi bawal sa religion nila?
Yun nga po, may mga ilang pasyente po na nagpo-foretold ng medication po. May isa po kami nag-gather na data po na kung saan yung Indian citizen po ay hindi po siya nagtitake ng beef, which is ang nag-adjust po dito yung healthcare professional na mag-isip ng ibang alternative para mag-undergo pa rin po ito ng treatment.
Saan hospital nangyari?
Wait lang po, sir.
Kasi napaka-importante ito kasi ang daming ang titigas ng ulo ng ibang members ng religion na parabang their idea of a God is a God who works magic na hindi na kailangan ng medical professional for them to have a cure. Go ahead, Josh.
Sir, wait lang po, hinahanap lang po sa RRL.
Sige lang. Kasi napaka-importante na makita to kasi kailangan concrete ang natin, no? Ang claim natin para magiging solid din ang pagtalakay natin sa ganitong sitwasyon. And that would be your contribution sa usapin ng religion and beliefs in relation to conducting health practices.
Sir, habang naghahanap po si Josh,
Yes,
pwede
Cleo,
po
go ahead.
mag-add ng isa pang pwedeng solution sa mga pasyente na matitigas nga po ang ulo na ayaw magpa-examine or bigyan na. Another solution po is parang pwede po silang i-refer sa hospital which accommodates their own religion. Kasi dito po sa Quezon, we have Baptist hospitals and Adventist hospitals which accommodates yung religion po ng Adventist, Baptist, yun po. So parang if ayaw po nung patient na magpa-treat sa non-sectarian hospitals, pwede po silang i-refer sa ganong type of hospitals which accommodates their own religion po.
Very good, no? Yung ganun na tipo na kasi magkapareho na sila ngayon ng paniniwala. Okay? And might be that the healthcare provider or that hospital had made or has made a certain adjustment on how their members will be catered, okay, to effect a cure, no? Na para bang kinoconnect nila, okay, ito yung paniniwala natin, ito yung medical procedure. Ay konektado lang yan, kaya kailangan mong tanggapin. Okay? Kasi wala namang basagan ng religious belief dito, no? Uh, ano yung ano ninyo? Ano yung take ninyo about a certain lawmaker na gusto niyang isabatas na tanggalin sa lahat ng hospital nationwide yung cross sa mga, 'di ba, sa bed, sa hospital beds, yung iba yung sa ibabaw no nilalagyan ng cross. Okay, lalo na kung yung hospital is owned by Christian or Catholics.
Dito po ba yan sa Pilipinas, sir?
Pilipinas, yes. Sa atin mismo.
I think mahirapan po yung lawmaker ma-implement yung law na tanggalin yung mga crosses sa church, sa hospitals. Kasi po, majority of the Filipinos are very religious po. Catholic po kasi
so you're
Catholic
not in favor to it?
Hindi po. Personally po, hindi po. Kasi pag may mga, sabi po sa research namin, may mga times po na pag nagkaka-difficulty na po in terms of medical sa medical nga po, they turn to God. So if tinanggal po yung mga crosses sa hospitals, parang kumbaga na wawalan po sila ng pag-asa.
Kasi ang ano niya, ang reason niya is, what if a Muslim is being treated in that Catholic hospital at makita niya na yung bed niya sa ibabaw may cross, yung ganun, is it not a valid reason for taking away crosses in all the hospitals nationwide?
Personally, sir, kasi I think majority of the hospitals dito po sa Pilipinas ay Catholic ang sistema po. Kumbaga, kumbaga sa Catholic po, di ba, bawal po ang abortion. Ganun. So most of the hospitals dito sa buong country po pala yan, hindi po pinakondone yung abortion nga po. Pero kumbaga sa ibang bansa po, meron pong different types of hospitals nga po, yung kumbaga yung Adventist church, Adventist hospitals. Pag tinanggal po kasi yung cross, I think, I mean, hindi po kasi matatanggal yung cross sa mga Catholic-oriented na hospitals.
So you mean it can be done in public hospitals but not in
Yes.
private?
Yes po.
Yun lang, no? Yun lang. Kasi, para bang ganito lang kasimple yan, when a Muslim is treated in a Catholic hospital, the Muslim has received the medical generosity of that Catholic hospital. Diba? The same way that when a Catholic is treated in an Islamic hospital, that Catholic also receives the medical generosity of that Islamic hospital, and there is no need to let the room or the hospital adjust to the patient because it is the home of a certain, shall we say, quote-unquote, religious individuals running the hospital. Tama? Kasi,
yes po, sir.
Para bang, hindi dahil Muslim ka at Catholic yung hospital, dahil i-admit ka sa Catholic hospital, tanggalin mo na yung lahat ng against sa hindi naman sa against, kundi yung hindi pang Islam, no? Tatanggalin mo na. Parang nangyari yan na para bang kung ako bibisita sa bahay mo, kung ayaw ko makakita ng salamin sa sala, dapat pagdating ko, tinanggal nyo na yung salamin sa sala. Di ba? Na para bang yung host na ngayon ang mag-adjust sa guest. Okay? Which is improper, right? Okay? That if I am the guest, I have to be humble enough to accept what is being offered by the host. At kasama dito kung anong meron sa place ng host. Tama? And I should not demand that the host should adjust to me as his or her guest. Okay? The same way na yung Catholic mapunta nga sa isang Islamic hospital, hindi pwedeng mag-demand si Catholic na, oy, pakitanggal naman yung crescent sa bed kasi ayaw ko niyan, Catholic ako. Tama? Okay. Pero kung ang point man lang is about neutrality of religion, o sige, government hospital, go ahead. No symbolic, shall we say, no religious symbols whatsoever. But not in the private hospitals. Tama? Josh, nakita mo na?
Sir, hindi po niya generally pinipinpoint yung hospital mismo, yung specific hospital po. Pinipin out, pinipinpoint lang po niya yung mga Indians na syempre po may mga beliefs rin po Indians about sa pagkain po ng beef about that.
Yung halal. Kasi
Yes.
yung mga not really halal, kay halal is pertaining to Islam. Okay?
Yes,
Pero
po.
nangyari yan dito sa Pilipinas, Josh.
Yung pag-take consider po sa belief ng isang ng pasyente
Yung
po.
Yung Indian na sinasabi mo.
Hindi po.
Okay. So, itong ninyo, itong scope and limitation actually ng study ninyo is not narrowed down into a certain country like Philippines, kundi ito ay is it a global view? Yun ba yun?
Yes, yes. Oh.
Sige. At least malinaw naman, no? Kasi it does not have to be limited to a certain country, because when we talk about religions and healthcare, okay, it is applicable all over the globe, no? It is global in scale. Wala namang problema doon. Okay? Yun lang nakita ko, no? Yun lang na shall we say, yun lang ang concern ko doon. And you have responded well, okay? To my inquiry, okay? So no need to revise, okay? I will receive it as is, as well as your video. Congratulations.
Maraming salamat po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Welcome. Okay, let us move now to the next presenter. Their paper is entitled "The Impact of Cyberbullying Amongst the Filipino Youth." This paper is to be presented by the group of Patrick Reyes. Group of presenters, welcome, and the virtual floor is yours.
Sir, I'm sorry po, pero pwede po kayo yung
Sige, walang problema. Anong title ng file name?
Divine Kintukol po.
Divine
Kintukol po.
Okay, sige, sandali, hanapin ko. Divine. Okay. Okay, do you see it now?
Yes po.
Okay, let us start.
My name is Vivian Laika A. Almerte.
My name is Lizella Espinosa.
My name is Laz Rainier S. Garcia.
My name is Patrick F. Reyes. My name is Norman Chilina, and today we're going to present our paper entitled The Impact of Cyberbullying Amongst the Filipino Youth.
To begin with, the internet in today's life is crucial for individuals in the world. It is used to provide individuals varieties of information that are almost accessible to all with the use of technological gadgets such as desktop computers, laptops, and smartphones being the channel. The internet has also a purpose, interacting with millions of users with the use of social media platforms. Social media is any digital tool that allows users to quickly create and share content with the public. However, social media platforms are also used to mock or to make fun of a particular individual or peers to entertain others. It is also used to pose numerous threats towards an individual, which also makes social media intimidating. This kind of harassment through the use of the internet is a digital form of bullying, also known as cyberbullying. In the Philippines, it is no surprise that cyberbullying is prevalent as many young Filipinos grew up with a custom use of gadgets and used the internet as a channel to mock their rival or just to entertain for clout. The digital population in the Philippines mostly belong to the age group of 16 years and above. In our country, teaching ethical values is important as it gives and shows respect toward another individual, which then will result in a positive connectivity, especially that our country contains different religion with different practices in which teaches disciplinary measures and acts to everyone. Cyberbullying has become more prevalent in the Philippines today. It affects the victim's well-being in a negative way. This study sought to discover the impact and repercussions brought by bullying to the victim. This study also serves as an eye-opener to the society in an intention of inducing proper, acceptable, and moral social act or behavior in the internet and real life. For the statement of the problem, generally, the researchers sought to discover the impact and repercussions brought by cyberbullying to the victims. Specifically, the researchers sought to answer the psychological impact of cyberbullying on the young Filipino victims. For the hypothesis, this study hypothesizes that the impacts brought by cyberbullying generates obstructive effects on the psychological health or well-being of young Filipinos, which needs immediate attention and action of all institutions in the Philippines. This paper is descriptive in approach as it seeks to understand and identify what causes the psychological effects of cyberbullying to the victims. This paper is also phenomenological as it focuses on the lived experiences of the victims of a particular phenomenon. Lastly, this paper is qualitative as it contains gathered data which seeks to understand the effects brought by the problem indicated in this study.
For the review of related literature, what is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying entails sending or sharing through the internet or other interactive contact devices, such as mobile phones, harmful or cruel text or pictures, stalking, threats, abuse, impersonation, embarrassment, trickery, and rejection may be involved. Cyberbullying, with several distinct elements from traditional bullying, is a significant new kind of bullying. According to the study of Campbell, traditional abuse and peer intimidation behavior takes place at school, garden, school bus, and canteen. This ensures that during and around school hours, the victims of these incidents are only vulnerable to violence. The burden of bullying may be gone for a while as they return to their homes. Cyberbullying, though, takes place on the internet, wherever they have access to their mobile or a computer. Students will suffer bullying at home, at a friend's house, at school, even on the bus or in the mall.
For the review of related literature about the cyberbullying in the Philippines.
Cyberbullying is one of the major problems here in the Philippines, especially for students. According to ABS-CBN News on the year 2019, here in the Philippines, children aged 13 to 17 years old have experienced cyberbullying. Also, in the same article, it is also reported that one-third of cyber violence experienced by Filipino children are in the form of verbal abuse over the internet or through cell phones, while a fourth are through sexual messages. Based on a guidance counselor named Lenny Gadiada, cyberbullying has a greater impact or effect than bullying someone in person, for the reason that it can leave a feeling of being alone, and that being online or spending time on social media, most of the time, that person is alone, while everyone, or his or her mutuals, depending on what kind of platform the person is using, can see about the incident, which actively demonstrates that the feeling of no escape from the situation that the person is in. Guidance counselor Gadiana added that at the very end of it will affect a person's cognitive functions in such a way on how a person thinks about his or herself and how a person behaves and acts.
For the discussion, based on data gathered from reliable sources, the typical reasons for cyberbullying are due to relationship issues, envy, and intolerance. Cyberbullying effects include anger, fear, sadness, powerlessness, depression, and suicidal thoughts. In addition, the anonymity helps the aggressor as their victims won't have an idea who the cyberbully is. Young victims also feel withdrawn, which affects their physical and mental well being as it leads them towards a dangerous, self destructive behavior. In the Philippines, based on the data collected from a reliable source, young Filipinos aging from 13 to 17 years old are most likely to be affected by cyber violence. Young Filipinos experience cyber violence through verbal abuse with the use of the internet's social media platforms and through messages. Many young female victims had reported that a nude photo of their bodies, unfeigned or fabricated, are spread on the internet without their knowledge. These unethical acts greatly affects the psychological health or well-being of the young Filipinos, which then causes depression, anxiety, disorders that are stress-related, low self-esteem, suicidal thoughts, and lastly, suicidal attempts, which can lead towards death.
For the conclusion, cyberbullying is an issue in societies that are mature enough to have the technology to communicate with other individuals online, and that cannot be readily solved. Cyberbullying can influence everyone, but it's more common in today's teens. In the Philippines, based on the data obtained from a credible source, young Filipinos aged 13 to 17 years are most likely to be affected by cyber violence. This study showed that, in general, cyberbullying would lead to mental health issues such as suicide, depression, anxiety, poor self-esteem, and low academic achievements. As technology continues to be an incredibly important part of our everyday lives, in the lives of our children, it is important to consider the risk of cyberbullying and to take the definite steps to prevent it.
For the recommendations, the study suggests critical thinking against cyberbullying by taking screenshots as evidence for the authorities to see and handle the problem. The study suggests consulting one's parents, especially if the problem severely affects his or her physical and mental state. The study suggests reporting to the authorities as there is a law that condemns the offenders, including slandering, cybersquatting, pornography, identity theft, and illegal access to data. Lastly, the study suggests engaging positivity against cyberbullying by posting media awareness. This paper can be used as a reference regarding bullying, morality, and in social sciences. That will be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the nice presentation about the impacts of cyberbullying to the Filipino youth. Um, Gusto ko lang tingnan, no? Balikan ko lang yung ano ninyo. Ano yung statement of the problem nyo ulit? Okay, paki-ready na rin para sa iba. Statement of the problem, gusto kong makita ulit. Tapos, yung hypothesis ninyo.
So yung statement of the problem po namin is generally the researchers sought to discover the impact and repercussions brought by cyberbullying to the victims. Tapos specifically the researchers.
Pasensya na. Biglang nawala yung connection.
Sir, nakamute ka.
Okay, pasensya na. Biglang nawala yung connection. Sandali lang, i-set ko lang ng konti. Ay, nako. Ano ba yan? Hindi. Okay, sige. Sandali. Meron na ba? Okay na yung ano? Naririnig
Okay
nyo na ako?
Opo,
Okay.
sir.
Sana tayo? Sana yung pinag-usapan kanina? Saan tayo naputol?
You were asking about ano po our statement of the problem.
Okay, go ahead. Ano yung statement of the okay, yung statement of the problem ninyo is about what are the psychological impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth. Tama ba?
Yes po yung
Okay. Yung hypothesis ninyo, ano?
The impacts brought by cyberbullying generates obstructive effects on the psychological health or well-being of young Filipinos, which needs immediate attention and action of all institutions in the Philippines.
Ay, masyadong mahaba. Kung ano yung tanong nyo, yun lang dapat ang sagot doon sa hypothesis ninyo. Okay? If you are asking about what are the impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth, ang null hypothesis ninyo dapat sasabihin lang na there are no psychological impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth. Tapos pakita nyo rin yung alternative hypothesis na there are psychological impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth. Doon kayo mag-umpisa, no? Kasi medyo pinalawak nyo yung hypothesis ninyo to the point na medyo umano ito, yung connection hindi siya umakpa, no? Merong sobra, kung makita mo parang sumobra ng konti yung hypothesis. Second is, if your question in your main problem is about psychological impact of cyberbullying to Filipino youth, dapat ang title nyo dito is ganun din dapat, no? Instead of the impact of cyberbullying to Filipino youth, make it particular. Make it the psychological impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth. Para kagad makita na you're not talking any other impact, okay, of cyberbullying but psychological. Do you get my point?
Yes po.
Okay, yun lang, no? Ano yung sa conclusion ninyo?
Cyberbullying is an issue in societies that are mature enough to have the technology to communicate with other individuals online and that cannot be readily solved. Cyberbullying can influence everyone, but it's more common in today's teens. In the Philippines, based on data obtained from a credible source, young Filipinos aged 13 to 17 years are most likely to be affected by cyber violence.
Okay.
Young Filipino.
Stop. Does it affirm your hypothesis? Na-affirm ba ang hypothesis ninyo?
Yes po.
Tama bang pagka-affirm na kung sabihin na pag sinabing sa hypothesis niyo na there are psychological impacts of cyberbullying to the Filipino youth, is yun din ang in-affirm niya?
Opo, sir.
Okay, ganito ang gawin nyo, no, para magiging malinaw, kasi yung binasa mo kanina is hindi malinaw kung ito ay nag-a-affirm. Okay? Merong sense na na-affirm niya pero hindi ganun ka-straight, no? Ang gagawin nyo is sa conclusion part nyo is you have to state that the findings of the research conducted affirms, okay, or negate, pero in that case it affirms your hypothesis, which is the alternative hypothesis that there are psychological impacts of cyberbullying on the to the Filipino youth before mo ilatag yung binasa mo kanina. Okay? Para makita ng reader at saka yung viewers nyo na talagang tuhog ito from the title up to the conclusion. Okay? Saka mo na ilagay yung mga paliwanag-paliwanag mo yon, no? Yung binasa mo kanina. Okay? Para magiging concrete lang siya. Okay? Magiging align lang lahat. Yun lang naman ang issue sa inyo, no? Yun lang ang issue sa inyo. In terms of content, wala akong problema. The recommendation, make it as is. Napakaganda yung recommendation ninyo. Okay? Yun lang. Title, ayusin yung title. Paki-insert yung psychological. Okay? Tapos, yung main question ninyo. Okay? Tapos, yung hypothesis. Paki-align lang yun lahat up to yung conclusion. Yun lang. Anything you want to add? Yes, Lance.
May naka-state din po sa solution namin is young Filipinos are faced with cyberbullying through physical violence, through the use of social media sites on the internet, and through tweeting. This study shows
Sana part yun?
Conclusion po. Tapos
Sa
po,
conclusion.
nakalagay din. Yes po. Tapos nakalagay din po, this study showed that in general, cyberbullying would lead to mental health issues such as suicide, depression,
Wait.
anxiety.
Hanapin ko sandali kasi nandito yung pre-recorded.
Of cyberbullying,
Wait.
only young.
Okay, dito sa conclusion part, di ba? Para hindi na kayo cyberbullying as an issue, no? Is an issue. Before ba dito or after dito?
Medyo, po, mid-part ng conclusion.
Sandali. Ano yun?
Yung young Filipinos are faced with cyberbullying.
Sige, hanapin ko sandali ha, para maayos natin yung latag. Technology. Wala eh. Basahin ko sa'yo yung nandito lang ha. Cyberbullying is an issue in societies that are mature enough to have the technology to communicate with other individuals online and that cannot be readily solved. Cyberbullying can influence everyone, but it's more common in today's teens. In the Philippines, based on data obtained from a credible source, young Filipinos aged 13 to 17 years are most likely to be affected by cyber violence. This study shows that in general, cyberbullying would lead to mental health issues such as suicide, depression, anxiety, poor self-esteem, and low academic achievement. Ito ba yung sinasabi mo? O hindi pa? Ang sunod nito is ito na. As technology continues to be an incredibly important part of our everyday lives and the lives of some children, it is important to consider the risk of cyberbullying and to take definite steps to prevent it. Yun lang ang andito.
Hindi po pala siya na-state sa mismong video, pero nasa paper po namin siya.
Okay. Pakisama na lang yun, no? Tapos, mas maganda kung yung pag-affirm nyo ng hypothesis, ipakita nyo muna, tapos yung sinabi mong hindi na lagay sa video, pakilagay na rin, tapos kasama na yung explanation, yung kanina, itodo mo na yun lahat. Okay? Parang insert mo lang yun doon. Okay? Para lang magiging solid yung maging conclusion mo na talagang simula from the title after the conclusion is nagka-link siya na hindi na walang pinuntahan na iba. Okay? Para hindi siya magmukhang assorted, hindi siya magmukhang chop suey. Okay?
Opo.
Kung ang gusto mong mangyari sa paper mo is adobo, okay? Hanggang sa huli dapat adobo 'yan. Hindi pwede maging paksiw 'yan. Okay? Ganun lang kasimple 'yan. Kaya nga palagi naming sinasabi sa research na pag ang title mo is ganyan, dapat ilabas mo yung title mo na parang pagkain. Title pa lang ulam na. Yung ganun na tipo, no? Title pa lang ulam na parang pag nakita ko yung title mo, alam ko na kung anong meron sa content mo. Okay? Dito, pag hindi mo ilagay yung psychological impacts of cyberbullying, the word psychological, mag-iisip ako ngayon, ano bang impact ito? Sociological ba? Spiritual ba? And so on and so forth. Pero kung ilagay mo na yan, specific na sa, ito yung gusto niyang mangyari, alam ko na. Titingnan ko na lang yung handle. Okay? Paano mo hinandle yung psychological impact at maipalabas mo na talagang psychological impact nga ang magiging prevalent as effect of cyberbullying. Okay? So, yun. Okay? Yun lang. Content wala na kung ano yan. Wala na kung hahanapin. Yun lang yung technicality lang doon. Okay?
Sir,
yes, please.
Ano po ulit? Title?
Title, insert mo yung word na psychological.
Opo.
Okay? Sa statement of the problem, yung main question ninyo, ano ulit? Ulitin mo para maano lang natin.
Statement of the problem po.
Yes. Yung question lang, yung question. Yung question
what
lang.
What are the psychological impacts?
Okay, very good. Yun. Panghawakan mo yan. Pagdating sa hypothesis, yun lang din ang sagutin mo. Okay? Yun lang din sagutin mo. Are there psychological impacts of cyberbullying on the Filipino youth? Okay. Null hypothesis. There are no psychological impacts of cyberbullying to Filipino youth. Ganun lang kasimple. Then, alternative. There are psychological impacts of cyberbullying to the Filipino youth. Pagdating sa conclusion, either affirm or negate. Okay? Lagyan lang. It affirms, okay, after the research conducted and the findings that are presented, the alternative hypothesis is being affirmed. Tapos, doon ka na mag-explain. Ilagay mo na yung gusto mong ilagay doon, no? Yung mga pinag-usapan ng kanina, ilagay mo na. Tama na yun. Actually, kahit mamayang 9 p.m., kaya nyo nang tapusin yan, yung revision na yan. Okay? Any question or clarification?
None po.
Okay. Congratulations, that is a good paper. Okay? Content-wise, the handle is good. Yung peripheral lang naman talaga yung kanina, yung pag-align. Kailangan lang talaga ma-align talaga. That is the characteristic of a good paper. Tapos, gusto kong ayusin nyo yung bibliography ninyo. Ang bibliography ninyo, hindi yata APA, hindi yata Turabian ang format niyan. Parang APA. Ayusin nyo yan. Okay? Turabian. Hanapan nyo ng paraan maging Turabian. At saka hanging indention, ha? Hanging indention. Observe that one. Okay? Yun lang. Kasi pag nagkaroon nito ng mga conferences na about cyberbullying, baka pwede kong mahugot ito, ilagay ko to, and I will inform you na yung paper nyo is natanggap sa ganitong conference. It's up to you whether you want to accept the challenge. Okay? And that is a fame. Okay? That is fame for you as students when you will be accepted to a certain conference. Okay? Any question or clarification?
None po, sir.
Okay, sige. So, yun lang, no? So, paki-pull out lang yung yung paper ninyo sa Google Drive ko para hindi ko mapagkamalan na yun na yung paper ninyo, no? Then you have up to 11:59 of Wednesday for the revision as well as your video, no? Pull it out and upload it once it is revised. Okay? So, congratulations, a job well done for the topic of cyberbullying, whether there is an impact, psychological impact to the Filipino youth. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
Nawala sa akin yung ano, kasi nawala ako sa ere, di ba? Nawala sa akin yung dalawa pa ba ang mag-present? Pwedeng pa-type ulit yung mga hindi pa nag-present? Sorry na, nawala ako sa ere. My apology. Sorry talaga. So yun na lang ako. Tapusin natin to para makapagpahinga na tayo. Paki-type yung hindi pa. Parang dalawa pa ata ang hindi pa tapos. Pa-type na lang sa chat box. Okay, good. Meron pa? Meron pa bang parang dalawa pa ata? Sino yung isa? Okay. So, wag nating patagalin. Let us proceed to the paper entitled The Effects of Discrimination to Transgender in the Philippines, to be presented by Jonas Aaron Lorente and his group. Group of presenters, welcome, and the virtual floor is yours now.
Sir?
Yes, please.
Pwede pong kayo yung
Okay, sige. Anong title?
Sacred Group po, sir.
Sacred Group.
Thank you po.
No problem. Sacred Group. Sacred, where are you? Ito. Dali. Present ko lang. Okay, do you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us start. Wala na naman, diba? Wait lang ha. Bakit parang sacred. Please. Wait lang. Try natin. Meron naman sang laman. Dali. Bakit ayaw? Sacred. Okay, ayun ka na. Okay, here we go.
Transgender is a descriptive term for those whose sexuality or presentation of gender is distinct from their sex at birth, such as male or female. According to Brito 2019, transsexual is a more specific term that fits under the transgender umbrella. This word can be contentious and shouldn't be used unless someone specifically asks to refer to this way. Gender will never reduce the identity of an individual, and any gender does not warrant any kind of prejudice and disrespectful conduct. In contrast to all the violence and injustice among them, Filipinos should be the one willing to support marginalized people as believers in human rights and justice as they fight for their dignity and equality. All human beings deserve equal treatment no matter their gender identity or sexuality. We are all humans, regardless of our race, color, religion, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Each of us deserves equality, respect, and justice, even in death.
This study aims to find out the different factors that affects the transgender human rights in the Philippines. More specifically, it seeks answers to the following questions. First, what are the difficulties encountered by the transgender in the Philippines? Second, what are the reactions about the SOGI bill? Third, what is the positive and negative outcome of the SOGI bill after it become law? The last one is, what are the suggestions about and possible recommendation could be given to the transgender community and to the society? The researchers were able to formulate this hypothesis. The transgender people have demonstrated that the transgender people face discrimination in their own family units, school, housing, government settings, and under the justice and legal system.
According to the Society of Transsexual Women of the Philippines, or STRAP, transgender people are one of the most marginalized and neglected sectors in the Philippines in terms of human rights protection, promotion, and fulfillment. The SOGIE Equality Bill, especially the Equal Protection Clause, is intended to fulfill the rights set out in the 1987 Constitution. It respects the dignity of LGBTQ and ensures that their rights are secured in as much as they are important. The bill also considers the duties of the Philippines under international law, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Civil Political Rights International Covenant. Thus, the non-discrimination of LGBTQ is regarded as both a national and international responsibility. According to the Philippine Commission on Women, the 1987 Philippine Constitution provides that the state values the dignity of every person and guarantees full respect for human rights. It also provides that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws.
In the study entitled Globalization and Discriminatory Practices Against Trans Women in the Philippines, Joseph concluded that trans women in the Philippines are vulnerable to experience of discrimination. Specifically, discrimination within their families, communities, with employment as well as physical and verbal abuse. In the subject of healthcare, however, the study reported that trans women do not face problems with attaining healthcare services, unlike that of the United States, wherein 28% were unable to receive proper healthcare due to discrimination. Joseph highlights the need for more research on transgender discrimination. Lack of research in these basic areas could perpetuate vulnerability cycles of discrimination for transgender people in the Philippines in general. In exploring challenges and problems faced by LGBT students in the Philippines, Tang argues that although the Philippines is known for being gay-friendly, the country's LGBT students struggle with bullying and discrimination initiated by the families, communities, and schools. The study concludes that there is a slow, progressive living environment of Filipino LGBT students. According to the study, Philippine LGBT students suffer from the lack of legal protection and mental health issues, often caused by the opposition of religion. Thus, the study recommends that the Philippine government, LGBT organizations, and universities must take further steps in combating LGBT discrimination. Specifically, these steps pertain to creating more programs on LGBT health-related issues for awareness as well as improve current policies.
To conclude, the purpose of this study is to give knowledge and ideas to the citizens of the Philippines that the transgender people are not receiving equal rights from their own family, schools, workplace, the government, and under the justice and legal systems. Transgender people take a lot of discriminations because of their identity, like harassment, sexual violence, and abuse. With this kind of discrimination, it caused the transgender people to have health issues, which lead to a harder situation, which is suicide. Moreover, any gender does not deserve any discrimination, violence, harassment, and abuse. As Filipinos, we should respect each other to build equality and unity, not only for the transgender people, but for all of us to receive equal rights, treatment, because any gender deserves it.
Furthermore, it is recommended that the Filipinos should start to think more wisely that it is not proper to discriminate against any other person because of its gender. The government should start giving more attention to the rights of transgender people and in any other genders because that is what they deserve, which is to have equal rights, so that they will not be afraid to be discriminated by other people. Another one is that the government should pass the SOGI Equality Bill because it is an anti-discrimination bill which will protect them from any kinds of discrimination.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation of the paper, The Effects of Discrimination to Transgender in the Philippines. I have two things here. One is technicality. Second is content. Technicality first. What is your main question in your statement of the problem? Anyone? Sorry. Tanggalin natin to. Okay. What is the main question in your statement of the problem?
Yung SOP 1 po, what are the difficulties encountered by the transgender in the Philippines po?
Okay, yun ang main ninyo. Pero, hindi nyo highlight na main question siya. Ilan ba yun lahat? 3 o 4 na questions? Catherine?
3 po.
Okay, 3. Okay? So, what you're going to do with that is you make the first one, as you have said, your main question and let the other 2 become your sub-questions. Okay? Now, what is your hypothesis?
Sir, the hypothesis po, the transgender people have demonstrated that transgender people face discrimination in their own family units, schools, housing, government settings, and under the justice and legal system.
Okay. Nag-align ba sila sa main question of the statement of the problem? Paki-check.
No po.
Hindi na. So, makisuyo ako, paki-align yan. Okay? So, gusto kong i-align nyo yan, na? So, hanapan nyo ng paraan na ma-align yan. Offer the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. Okay?
Okay po.
Okay. Now, the conclusion. Yung conclusion nyo is dapat mag-align din doon sa hypothesis ninyo. Okay? Whether the conclusion affirms your null hypothesis or it affirms your alternative hypothesis. Okay? Gusto kong makita yan. Okay? Gusto kong makita. Yun ang
Opo.
yun ang ano ninyo, yun ang gagawin ninyo. Please take down notes. Okay. Ngayon, dito tayo sa content. Okay. Medyo may confusion dito about your use of terms. One is the term transgender. Second, the term transsexual. And the other term, the third one, LGBTQIA. My question is, what is the difference between transgender and transsexual?
Transgender is a descriptive term po for those whose sexuality or presentation of gender is distinct from their sex at birth. And transsexual naman po is a more specific term po.
Mm-hmm. So pag sinabi mong transgender in simple words, ano ito? Anong nire-refer pag sinabi mong transgender?
Sir, pwede po pa-repeat ng question?
Sige. In simple words, anong ibig sabihin mo ng transgender? Kasi parang yung binanggit mo kanina, may confusion pa rin that it is somewhat interchangeable, that when you say transgender, you can mean transsexual and vice versa. Kaya gusto ko, in your simple terms, in your simple words, ano bang ibig sabihin ng transgender?
Transgender po is kung paano po nakikita ng tao yung gender niya. Like, kung male po siya, pero nakikita niya po yung self niya as female.
Okay.
Or, baliktad naman.
Okay. Yung male and female, magkaiba yun kaysa man and woman. Okay. Ganito yan. Pag sinabi mong transgender, ang nire-refer nito ay itong mga terms. From boy to girl or from girl to boy. From man to woman or from woman to man. Okay? Yun ang gender. Pag sinabi mong what is your gender, ang isasagot mo doon is you are a woman or you are a man. Okay? Pero pag sinabi mong what is your sex, okay? Ang sagot mo 3 times a day, no? Hindi. Ang sagot mo doon is either you are female or you are male. Okay? Pag sinabi mong transgender, ibig sabihin yung kilos niya is nag-transition siya from one gender to another. Okay? Halimbawa, boy siya, nag-transition siya into becoming a girl, kaya yung kilos niya, pananamit niya, pananalita niya is babae. Okay? Yun. The same way na yung isang babae, nag-transition siya into pagiging lalaki, kaya ang tawag sa kanya transgender. Okay? Si Charis Pimpenko, ano na siya ngayon? Anong pangalan niya? Zyrus, tama ba? Siya ni si Zyrus Jake, tama ba?
Opo.
Okay, yun, no? Yun. Okay? Tawag nitong si Aiza Sigera, ngayon Ice na siya, tama? Okay. Ang tawag sa ganon is transgender. Okay? Not necessarily having undergone the knife or the medical procedure of, shall we say, having their genitals changed. hindi sila nagpa-sex change. Ang tawag lang sa kanila is nag-change lang sila ng gender, kaya ang tawag sa kanila transgender. Pag sinabi mong transsexual, ito yung nagpa-sex change, no? Nagpa-sex change siya na yung genital niya, halimbawa lalaki, is nagpa-sex change siya, nagiging babae yung genital. Okay? Or babae na genital, nagpa-sex change siya, nagiging lalaki yung genital. Kaya ang tawag sa kanila, transsexual. Okay? At pwedeng mangyari ng isang transsexual ay at the same time transgender. At yung transgender at the same time transsexual. Pero not necessarily both. Pwedeng yung may iba naman kasi na ayaw magpa-sex change. Kaya ang tawag lang sa kanila, transgender lang talaga. No? Pero meron ding iba na gustong, halimbawa, lalaki siya, pero gusto niyang magpa-sex change, pero pinreserve pa rin niya yung pagiging brusko niya, no? Bigotilyo pa rin siya, balbasarado pa rin siya, pero yung genital niya, iba na. Okay? Ang tawag sa kanila, hindi sila transgender, transsexual lang. Okay? Kaya gusto kong maintindihan nyo to. Okay? Kaya dito, gusto kong itanong, ano ba talaga ang focus nyo dito? Ang focus nyo ba dito sa paper nyo is only the transgender or kasama na yung transsexual? Anybody in the group?
Sir, both po.
Both. Okay? Kaya kung both ang gusto nyong isama dito, gusto nyo rin bang isama yung mga bisexual? Kasi iba yung gender nila. Yung mga bisexual. Remember, LGBTQIA, the lesbian. Okay? LG, okay? The gays, the bisexual, the transsexual, okay? Tapos the queer, the intersex, and the asexual. Pero yung content nyo, nakafocus lang kayo sa transgender. Alin bang gusto nyong ipalabas dito? Transgender lang ba? Or kasama yung LGBTQIA?
Transgender lang po.
Transgender lang. Aaron, transgender lang daw talaga.
Yes po, sir.
Okay, transgender lang. Okay. Kung transgender lang ang gusto nyong ipalabas nito, may ano lang ako ha. Okay. Pakita ko lang yung pakita ko lang yung screen. Okay. Dito sa presentation ninyo, dito you talk about something that is written by the STRAP or the Society of Transsexual Women. Magkaiba kasi ito dito sa trans women. Yung trans women ay ito yung transgender. Ito ay transsexual. At ito rin, ang SOGI is LGBTQIA ito. Hindi lang ito about transgender. Kung transgender lang ang focus nyo, medyo may problema tayo sa sources. Okay? Wait. Hindi. Ano ko lang, ipakita ko lang sa inyo, no? Okay, from the discussion, napakalaking palaging nakalagay dito, okay? Transgender, gender, okay, wala tayong problema dyan. Pero pagdating dito sa ano ninyo, sa statement of the problem, though you focus on transgender, pero yung mga sub-questions ninyo is now having the, shall we say, um, the totality of the whole thing about LGBTQIA. Okay? LGBTQIA. Um, do you really intend to just pull out things that are only for transgender and not to consider the totality that are the totality that is being, shall we say, um, included in the SOGI bill? Kasi pag sinabi mong SOGI bill, though andyan yung transgender, pero it would be a defeat of the SOGI bill if you will just select only that is transgender but not becoming, shall we say, concerned about the transsexuals, the bisexuals, the asexuals, the intersex, and the asexuals. Parang it would be a form of, hindi ko lang alam, no, pero I do not know how you take it, pero parang it is a form of just giving special treatment in your study only about the transgender and something of neglecting the other genders. What do you think? Any comment?
Sa research po kasi namin, nakita po namin na mas marami pong naapektuhan na transgender. Kaya po, doon na lang po kami nag-focus. And according to Corinne Redbrand po, there are 50 transgender people have lost their lives in the Philippines po kasi.
Compared to other members of the LGBTQIA.
Apo.
Okay? Sige. We'll consider that one. Sige. Dito tayo. Para lang maano natin. Sige. Diretso tayo. Okay, so hypothesis as again. Okay, sige. Okay, pabalik-balik lang naman. Sige. Do you intend to make amendments of the SOGI bill? Because there might be some provisions in the SOGI bill that are not acceptable to the public just because it might be, shall we say, non-conforming to the society's call just because of the inclusion of other genders other than transgender. Like for example, hindi sa maipasa-pasa kasi merong problema doon sa pero hindi ko sinabing ito yan, pero ang sinabi ko is possibility na may problema doon sa provision about transsexual, lesbian, gay, shall we say, provision about the asexual, intersex, the queer. In that case, kung merong ganon, do you intend to amend the SOGI bill or push for the lawmakers to create and let become a law, an exclusive law only for the transgender, not entertaining other genders like the LGBT? Okay? only the T that you have to consider, and in the T it is composed of transsexual and transgender, but you will have to make amend that it should be only for the transgender and not necessarily for the transsexual. Is that what you want also to recommend in the law in the future?
Sir, no po. Kasi yung sa may SOP number 3 po namin is we will look for the outcome po na if positive or negative po yung sa SOGI bill.
Okay, so pag positive, inclusion of the transgender. Tama ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, ganitong gawin ninyo, no? Kasi kung titingnan natin, if you want to highlight talaga the discrimination to transgender, mas maganda siyang tingnan kung gumawa kayo ng example, parang case study na talagang in the statistics, ito yun. Dapat ma-highlight yung transgender kasi sila yung most discriminated in the line of LGBTQIA. Dapat yun ang i-claim ninyo, no? Kaya nga yung topic niyo is just transgender and not shall we say including any other thing in the line of LGBTQIA. Ipakita nyo na talagang halimbawa ilan ba ang total ng in the history of the shall we say history of shall we say advocacy of LGBTQIA, ilan ba ang nagiging transgender na biktima compared to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, intersex, and asexual. Dapat maipakita nyo yung graph nun. Okay? Dapat maipakita nyo. Tapos, para magiging makatotohanan yung graph nun, is i-present nyo yung mga cases na popular na mas marami nga pala talaga na discriminated. Like for example, the case of Jennifer Laude. Transgender yun, hindi yun transsexual. The case of yung sa Alimol, do you still remember it? Sa Alimol ba or sa Farmers Plaza, yung sinabihan ng lady guard na wag umihi doon sa CR ng pambabae kasi kahit members na ng LGBTQIA, quote-unquote, may genital pa rin siya ng lalaki. Sino yun? Yung umabot sa Senado at Kamara? Gawan nyo ng ilagay nyo as example para magiging concrete. Kasi ang feeling ko, ang nangyayari sa content ninyo is, nandyan yung content pero parang wala siyang dating kasi lahat naman, marami nang nagsusulat ng ganyan. Okay?
Sir, excuse me po.
Yes, please. Catherine.
Nasa RRL po namin yung mga cases, hindi po kasi namin nasama dun sa video.
Yan. Gumawa kayo ng isama nyo sa video, kahit isa or dalawang case lang na to support yung papapakita nyo ng graph. Okay? Gawan nyo ng paraan na magawan nyo ng graph na para magkita yung comparison na yun nga, napakataas yung graph pala ng discrimination against transgender kaysa ibang mga members of the LGBTQIA community. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, so yun lang, no? Para tapos i-align mo lang yung main question ninyo sa hypothesis ninyo, tapos sa conclusion. Dapat yung conclusion is mag-affirm or mag-negate doon sa alternative or null hypothesis ninyo. Yun lang gusto ko makita. Okay? Para makita na itong study ninyo is kakaiba kasi many others are actually writing about LGBTQIA, pero this is the first time and you want to contribute to the discussion of discrimination against the members of the LGBTQIA, focusing on the transgender. Okay? So, yun lang gusto kong makita. Any, shall we say, concern about your paper before we close this mini conference? Sabi ni Ivana, Sir, if it is okay lang po, can we consult you privately after this meeting regarding our term paper, the negative effects of forced... Yes, definitely. Okay. So, maiwan lang kayo after the prayer because I want to do it here on, shall we say, Google Meet. Okay, bago i-close ko tong application. Okay, no problem. Welcome. Okay, Catherine, anything you want to say before we pray? Joshua, Sir, ask lang po ako about doon sa video namin. Pinasa ko po yung walang music pero ayaw pong tanggapin nung G drive. Full na po ata. Wait. Baka mamaya is binago ko yung setting. Sandali lang ha. Para lang wala tayong problema. Ngayon lang. Wait. Oo, sige. Okay, sige. Ulitin mo na. Inano ko na. Tawag nitong naka-editor mode na siya. Naka-viewer kasi kanina kaya hindi kayo makapasok. Okay. Nung isang araw. Nung isang araw pa. Okay, paki-try Joshua. Inayos ko na. Okay. Yes. Aaron?
Sir, yung sa amin po is, yung sa may video is dadagdagan po ng RRL sa video. Kasi hindi po kami naglagay. Dadagdagan po ba?
Yes, kung walang RRL, dapat ipakita nyo. Pero wag naman yung masyado, no? Yung tamang-tama lang. Basta maximum of 15 minutes lang tayo.
Okay, sir.
Sige. What else?
Wala na po, sir.
Okay, kung wala na, Gia, are you still in? Gia, Margaret?
Yes po.
Okay, can you
Yes
lead
po.
our closing prayer to close our mini conference?
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, thank you for giving this wonderful day for us to have a great defense about our term paper, and thank you for all the blessing we received today.
Okay, thank you so much for the prayer. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Wait. Inopen ko ang Module 4 and 5 for those who are not able to comply with the task for Modules 4 and 5. You have up to 11:59 p.m. of February 24. So 22 ngayon, may 2 days kayo para ayusin yung Module 4 and 5 ninyo. Okay? Inire-open ko. Okay, so thank you class for letting me your guide in your journey about this subject, religion, history, and text. Okay, so thank you so much for the wonderful, shall we say, things that we have in this particular block 1. Okay, and see you around. Okay, maybe hindi ko alam kung ma-under ko pa kayo next time. Okay, so good luck and God bless. Okay, and prepare for ano na lang, for your block 2, no? Bukas na ata? Bukas na ba? Tama ba bukas na?
Yes, sir.
Ay, grabe yung ano natin, klase natin. Sige. Sige, pahinga na kayo. Maiwan yung mga magpakonsulta.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you po, sir.
Good night.
Thank you po.
Welcome. And thank you rin. Sige. Sige, ano yun?
Thank you po.
Okay, Catherine, welcome. Sige, umpisa na natin.
Hi sir, sorry po if
Yes.
we're taking your time po tonight po. Pero sir, hindi lang po kasi clear sa group namin if bakit po namin kailangang i-state pa po yung positive effects po ng forced religion if direct na po sa title namin na the relationship of negative effects naman po of religion to the mental stability po.
Kasi there might be a possibility na merong nagsulat, merong other view about the term forced religion. Okay? Baka kasi merong nagsulat noon, kaya pag merong nagsulat noon na may positive effects ang forced religion, magiging detrimental ito sa claim ninyo. Okay? At saka pag nagiging ganyan, hindi naman kailangan katakutan, no? Na may lalabas na positive effects of forced religion. Ang kailangan nyo lang talagang gawin is i-analyze. Baka naman is ang pinapalitaw na forced na positive effect of forced religion cannot really stand on the shall we say on the rebuttal of shall we say negative effects of forced religion. Yun lang, no? Halimbawa, i-claim ko na all men are mortal. Okay? Tapos, anong pambato ko nun? Okay? Sabihin ko na Angel Gabriel is immortal. Tama bang mag-conclude ako na sabihin ko na angel, okay, that no man is mortal just because I have seen Angel Gabriel as immortal? So, makikita ko ngayon na may defect ang claim ko, no? Na may defect yung argument ko. So, I have to check now yung first statement, all men are mortal. So, i-check ko siya by logical way. Is there a case that a man or a human person is not mortal? In ordinary case. Tapos, titingnan ko sa science part. Meron na bang na-report ang science na merong tao na hindi namatay? Kung wala, then that is a good claim. Now, dito ka ako kay Angel Gabriel, immortal. Ang tanong ko naman is, immortal siya, tao ba siya? Kung tingnan natin, hindi natin matawag na tao ang angel. Kaya, ibig sabihin, may problema ako sa second claim ko. Okay? So, i-align ko ngayon. I-align ko siya. Paano ko i-align? All men are mortal. Maghanap ako ng specific case na masabi natin na tao yan. Halimbawa, Ivana is a human person. So, all human person are mortals. Then, Ivana is a human person. Ang tanong naman is Ivana a human person? So, kung science will tell us na tao talaga sa Ivana at hindi pangalan ng aso, okay? So, ma-establish natin na tama yung second claim na minor premise that Ivana is as a human person. Therefore, makakonclude na tayo na Ivana is mortal. So, meron na ngayong flow yung tao nito, yung argument mo. Okay, ngayon, paano natin to i-situate gagamitin doon sa negative effects and positive effects. Okay. Ngayon, titingnan mo ngayon, no? Saan ba yung negative effects niyo? Okay. Ito yung religion, no? Titingnan mo ngayon, religion ang titingnan mo. Okay? Now, is a forced religion always result to negative effects? Investigate mo yun. Yun ang tanong mo, no? Tapos, kung makita mo na may nagsulat ng kakaiba about forced religion, hindi lang negative effects, meron din palang positive effects. Kaya yun ang gusto kong mangyari. Ngayon, hihimayin mo. Ito yung sinasabi ng negative effects, sinalungat ng taong ito that there is a positive effects of forced religion. Now, magkakaroon ng rebuttal yan, no? Opinion niya against ng opinion nito, okay? Then i-rebut mo using other authors, okay? In favor of negative effects. Then magkakaroon ng another rebuttal. Pag nangyari na these negative effects can stand on the claim, okay, of positive effects, then the whole thing must be the truth that there should be that negative effects of forced religion. Pero kung ang mangyari is parang nangyari sa fixed marriage na sa China is hindi tanggap na sabihin mo sa mga Chinese people na negative ang fixed marriage. Okay? Kaya sa China, ang fixed marriage is positive. Okay? Kaya dito, pwede mo ring tingnan, no? Hindi kaya positive effect ang shall we say, forced religion. Kaya very crucial dito yung scope and limitation. On what culture na tinanggap na negative ang effect nun? Baka sa Philippines lang. Or baka sa Brazil lang. Paano naman sa ibang kultura? Baka positive sa kanila. Okay? Kaya yun ang titingnan natin. Hindi kasi natin pwedeng i-landslide yun, no? Dahil hindi pwede na sabi mo na dahil ang title nyo is negative effects, is dapat hindi nyo natingnan yung positive effects. Kung wala kayong makita, okay? Pero imposible kasi meron talaga yung nagsusulat. Kaya nga, nirefer ko kayo sa field papers kasi doon pa lang may hint na yung about notion, no? Notion of negative and positive. Baka may mahagilap kayo doon. Okay? Kasi kung sa totoo lang, a title should not be seen as something that is formulated in a way na parang meron na siyang bias. Dapat ang kadalasan sa title mo, para makita mo na walang bias yan, dapat neutral lang. Dito dapat ang nilagay nyo lang sa title is the effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability. Hindi nyo dapat sinama yung negative effects o yung negative. Dapat effects lang. Para malaman nyo, doon sa RRL ninyo, makita nyo, ano kaya tong effect ng forced religion? Negative ba or positive? Okay? Kung mangyaring negative, then good. Okay? Kung mangyaring positive, then good. Ang problema nyo ngayon is nag-claim na kayo na dahil forced religion ito, negative effects na agad. Kaya sinama nyo na sa title, negative effects of forced religion to an individual's mental stability. Okay? Kaya nahirapan kayo ngayon na tumanggap ng possibility na merong positive effects of forced religion. Okay? Kasi yung title nyo agad, hindi na talaga neutral. Do you get my point?
Yes po, sir. Sir, may question lang po.
Sige, go ahead.
Kung yung sa title po namin is effects lang po yung gagawin namin.
Mm.
Bali yung content po namin is hindi na po namin babaguhin, ganun po.
Hindi nyo naman talaga bagbaguhin yung content niyo. Dagdagan nyo lang. Magdagdag lang kayo ng part, yung perspective na may positive. Kasi yun ang work ninyo na i-analyze yun. May positive, may negative. Alin ba talaga, kuya? Okay? Yun ang work nyo. Okay? Kung talagang re-resulta na negative effect talaga, then so be it. Okay? Pero hindi nyo dapat mag-claim agad na negative na yun. Okay? Kasi yung action verb na yung adjective na forced, the root of it is force, no? The root of it is force, and not every force is something that can result to negative. Okay? That is why it can be a possibility that there might be authors writing about positive effects of forced religion. Halimbawa, pinwersa mo yung bata para kumain kasi hindi kumakain. Is it something negative? May forced na adjective yun. Hindi kumakain. Finorce mo na kumain para hindi magkasakit. Is it something negative? Maybe not. In some point, not. Maybe the word forced, can have a positive meaning. A positive connotation. Not necessarily that the adjective forced would result to something that is negative all the time.
Okay po, sir. Sir, question lang po ulit.
Sige, go ahead.
May babaguhin po ba kami or dadagdag lang?
Dadagdagan nyo lang. Kaya nga sa body nyo, kaya nga ang sabi ko, maghanap kayo. Di ba sinabi ko kanina, i-align nyo lahat yung main question ninyo, yung hypothesis ninyo at conclusion ninyo. I-align yan. That is the first one. Must yan, no? Must yan. Necessary yan. Tapos, yung RRL nyo, dagdagan nyo lang. Ipakita nyo lang na merong nagsulat na positive effect about forced religion. Okay? Ipakita nyo lang na may nagsulat. Okay? Hindi naman kailangan na lunukin nyo yun. No? Hindi kailangan. Ang gusto ko lang mayari, ipakita nyo na meron din nagsulat. Na barabang, when you are having a coin, let people see the other side of the coin. Hindi lang yung front. Okay? Para balance lang siya. Okay? At mas maganda nga kung tanggalin nyo yung word na negative para neutral yung title ninyo. Para neutral.
Okay po, sir. Sir, paano in case lang po na wala po kaming mahanap na positive? Ano pong mangyayari?
Hindi pa ako naka-encounter talaga ng research na walang panumbas. Hindi pa ako naka-encounter. Hanapin nyo yung mga journal about philosophy, about sociology, about theology. Sigurado may matisod kayo doon. Yes, Angelique.
Sir, nung nag-research po kasi po kami, ang may lumabas lang po na positive effects po, yung religion itself po. Bali po, if yun lang po yung mahanap po namin, babaguhin na lang po ba namin yung title po into the effects of having a religion po?
Not necessarily. Hindi rin. Kasi importante yung term na forced religion. Napaka-importante yun, no? Baka may ibang equivalent terminology about forced. Baka you can try imposed religion. Okay? Yung mga ganun, no? Baka mamaya yung search engine is wala siyang matagpuan sa phrase na forced religion, baka sa imposed religion. Yung mga synonyms ba niya? Okay? Na baka doon yung mahanap. Doon yung mahanap. Okay? It is a matter of shall we say, giving a twerk to a certain word, kasi yung search engine natin is dependent din yan doon sa paano mo nilagay yung word at ano yung word na nilagay mo. Halimbawa, religion imposed. Okay? Magkaiba yan sa imposed religion. Pero actually, magkapareho lang meaning nun, no? Pero yung search engine, baka marami sang makita sa imposed religion or religion imposed. Okay? Yung mga ganon. Or enforced religion, religion enforced, religion forced. Okay? Yung mga ganon na tipo, parang you just play. Okay? As a researcher, dapat medyo parang laro-laro lang, no? Parang I do not mean wag niyong seryosohin, hindi ko sinabi yan, no? Pero I just want you to make fun of finding things. Okay? Actually, nakaka-enjoy yan. Ang problema lang is parang hindi na kayo masyadong mag-enjoy nito kasi malapit na yung Wednesday, 11:59 PM of 24, at saka bukas mag-start na ang Block 2. Kaya mukhang hindi kayo mag-enjoy nito. Pero wala tayong choice, no? Because if you are not going to revise this paper, magsasuffer yung final exam ninyo. And I do not want you to suffer the consequence of not submitting a good paper. Because I want you to have a good grade. I do not want you to fail. Okay? Kaya nga na ako sa term na forced religion. Actually, na-excite ako noon. Okay? Na-excite ako nung binasa ko yung paper ninyo, tapos tiningnan ko how you present it, na-excite ako. Ang pinoproblema ko lang talaga is nagiging landslide lang talaga siya. Nagiging landslide. Wala sang panumbas. Wala sang panumbas. Si Koenig na parang may hint siya ng panumbas, pero hindi naman talaga sa panumbas. Okay? Hindi naman talaga sa panumbas. Nandoon pa rin siya, doon kasama sa landslide. I hope you get my point. Ganon din namang ibang paper, kaya pina-revise ko kasi yun, nawalan din ng panumbas, konti na lang yung panumbas. Importante sa atin, balance yung view, no? Na pag sinabing halimbawa, sinabi natin na si Carla ay chismosa, okay, negative yun, dapat maghanap ka ng mga nagsasabi na hindi siya chismosa. Kasi kailangan natin yung balance. At ikaw na yung mag-analyze, ito yung sinasabi, ito yung dahilan bakit si Carla ay sinabing chismosa, ito naman yung dahilan bakit sinabi na hindi siya chismosa. Ngayon, i-analyze mo, sino ba si Carla? Ikaw na ngayon nakadiscover kung sino si Carla. Ganon din yun, no? Kayo ang mag-discover ngayon kung ano yung forced religion, negative effect ba talaga or something else. Okay? Kaya kailangan nyo nang i-analyze. Okay? Kaya nga sabi ko kanina na very crucial talaga yung pag-define ng forced religion. Kasi kailangan mong malaman ano ba talaga yung saklaw pag sinabi mong forced religion. Okay? Kasi baka mamaya yung saklaw na yan sa ibang kultura, hindi talaga forced religion ang tawag doon. Okay? Or kung forced religion man, baka accepted nila as something that is positive, gaya nga ng nangyari sa mga Chinese, yung fixed marriage. Para sa kanila, positive yun. Pero sa atin, ayaw ko, di ba? Sino ba namang gustong makisama sa maging asawa mo na wala ka namang pagmamahal? Negative yun. Pero sa kanila, accepted nila yun. Kasi ayaw nilang mawala yaman nila. Do you get my point? I hope.
Yes po, sir.
Sige. Any other thing? Yes,
Sir,
Angelique.
magko-conference pa rin po ba kami po after po namin mag-submit ng
Hindi
mga
na, hindi na.
video?
Submit na lang talaga. Submit na. Wala na, hindi na kailangan. Hindi na kailangan.
Sir, tanong ko lang po. Yung sa, di ba po sabi niyo po, importante po yung pag-introduce ng term ng forced religion.
Yes, yes.
Bali po, ang pagkakaintindi ko po is yung sa introduction po namin, yung simula, hindi na po namin i-entry ng religion itself po. I-explain na po namin agad yung forced religion po.
Wag na kasi luma na yung kung ano yung religion. Diretso kasi sa forced religion. Okay? Bigyan nyo ng diin ng definition. Okay? At kumuha kayo ng author to define what forced religion is. Okay? Para may dating na kagad, intro pa lang medyo may sipa na.
Sir, tanong ko lang din po, yung sa revision nyo po kanina po ng statement of the problem po. Tsaka po ng hypothesis po namin po. Yung sabi niyo po is, dalawa lang or isa lang po yung naisagot po namin sa hypothesis po.
Isa lang talaga isagot nyo. Yung main question lang talagang sagutin nyo. Kasi hypothesis nga lang yan, no? Educated guess lang. Hindi kailangan yung sub-question isama nyo sa hypothesis. Hindi kailangan. Yung main question lang talaga. Okay? Hindi ko alam kung anong feel nyo ngayon, kung isama nyo ba yung word na negative doon sa title. Kasi kung tatanggalin nyo yan, dapat sa main problem ninyo, tanggalin nyo rin yung word na negative. Para sa hypothesis niyo, tanggal din yun yung word na negative. Okay? Para neutral lahat. Mas maganda kasing pakinggan yung bang may thrill na ano kayang effect nito? Ano kaya to? First religion, ano kayang effect nito? Negative kaya or positive? Okay? Yun bang may thrill na manghahalungkat yung magbabasa o makikinig sa video nyo kasi hindi niya alam kung ano yung magiging resulta kung negative or positive. Okay? Pero kung ilagay nyo na negative, para nang walang thrill, negative lang pala. Kadulo niya, alam ko na negative yun. Okay? Kasi yun ang yung ganun na tipo. Okay? Kaya nga, biruan namin kadalasan mga researchers, yung title pa lang parang pagkain. Na dapat, pag nakita mo yung title, ulam na. Yung ganun na tipo na parang kita mo na kaagad ano yung mangyayari pero may thrill. Ang kita mo agad is nandoon ka sa direction na halungkatin mo yung effect ng first religion kung positive or negative. Kaya yung abangan mo kaagad, ano ba to? Negative, positive. Kaya yun ang magiging thrill niya. Pero alam mo na kaagad by looking at the title na effects of forced religion, alam mo na kaagad kung anong gagawin mo doon. Ibig sabihin, ang gagawin mo is maghanap ka talaga kung ito ay negative or positive. Okay? Actually, para sa akin, napakabago ito, no? Forced religion. Wala pang nagsulat ng ganito na lokal na nakita ko looking sa mga students na encounter ko, wala pang nagsulat ng ganito. Kaya ito is ang laki ng potential nito na mapansin talaga ito, no? When we will be having maybe a certain conference about student formation, actually pwedeng i-present ito. Ang ganda ng lalo na kung mag-inject kayo dito ng biblical at saka yung biblical sources nito, either to look at it as something that is positive or negative. Okay? Baka magiging controversial pa ito. Yes, Angelique.
Sir, tanong lang po namin, if pwede pong magpa-consult po sa inyo before po kami mag-video po.
Sige, walang problema sa akin, walang problema. Kayo pa. Okay, okay lang sa akin, walang problema.
Sir, what time po kaya if bukas po kami magpa-consult po? Kasi balak na
Bukas.
po kami siya gawin po.
Sige, kung bukas, klase ko from 7 to 6 din. Pwede na mga 7:30 ng gabi. Okay lang ba sa inyo?
Okay lang po,
7:30?
sir.
Ganito. Ganyan, no? Hanggang sa, wag naman madaling araw, no? Basta 7:30 ng gabi, okay lang ako. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Any concern?
None naman na po, sir.
Okay. Carla, okay ka lang dyan? Ha? Okay lang? Ivana?
Yes, sir. Okay na po.
Okay, sige. Carl, okay na? At Jensa?
Okay na po, sir. Thank you po.
Sige, welcome. Okay, walang problema.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sige. Out na tayo?
Sige po, sir.
Sige po, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay,
Thank you,
so
sir.
good luck, good luck. Okay, and good night. Ha? See you bukas na lang.
Thank you, sir. Opo, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.